Welcome back to the Blow Up Show.
Mm-hmm.
Felix and Jakob, episode 2. At first we had 0 episodes, now we have 1. It's a nice new thing we're trying out, I think.
It's fun. If we're lucky, we'll make it to episode 3.
Yeah.
And then if we're really lucky, 4.
We watched some movies this past week. I watched a couple. I think maybe you might have watched something without me.
See, I've just been watching The Sopranos, mainly. Like, trying to get through that. I've never seen it. I'm not a big TV guy. There are definitely flaws with it, just how it drags on and whatnot. But
Yeah. You were talking about the filler stuff, and you kind of feel like you're a little bit manipulated by the corporation.
Sure, yeah, the big H.
I want this thing to be like, yeah, our videos are shorter, but it's like all the fat is trimmed. It's all no filler, just all like the best parts just packed into it. And that's the thing with TV is that there's so much filler because they have to fill like a certain time slot in episodes and stuff. So they just like have to write that. And that's a big problem I have with TV, and maybe a small reason why I don't really consume TV as much as I consume films.
You were telling me, I remember we were talking about it when we were debating like film versus TV. I do believe TV kind of takes that slot of like indie films.
Yeah.
So people that didn't really have the sway to get their movie made the way they wanted, they have like the outlet of TV.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, when you sit down, you watch a movie, you're not committing that much to it.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like, oh, I'm watching a TV show. I can commit 30 minutes, an hour to the show, and then like turn it off, whatever episode.
Yeah.
But I'm still hooked on in the future because I have to continue watching the season or something.
Like, I don't remember the last time I watched a show all the way through. Like, I start a lot of shows, and I really never finish it. Only these sort of like these mini-series. Like, in the last 2 shows that I finished all the way through were Copenhagen Cowboy, which is like 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched The Offer. I watched that all the way through, the Godfather series, the one about the Godfather.
Yeah, that was good.
Like, I watched the Bernie Madoff show, but I still have like maybe like 45 minutes left for the last episode because I just feel like I watch a show and then I have to remember to like keep watching it, and then I just lose interest, and it's just like, they're just like little orphans. I just leave them.
I watch a lot of shows with Ava because she likes to do the most current things.
Yeah.
So if there's a show that comes out on Netflix, we'll watch like what's the in,
Yeah, like, I don't keep up with any of the new stuff that all the shows that people are talking about. Like, there's always, like, a show that pops up every now and then that's, like, it's, like, hitting the zeitgeist of culture.
Exactly.
And I sometimes will even try to watch an episode or something, and I'm like, this is, like, not even that good. Like, The Last of Us, everyone's talking about that show now. That's, like, the new one. And before that, it was, like, Wednesday or...
House of Dragon.
Yeah, or, like, Euphoria was a big one, and then like Game of Thrones is one of those shows that everyone watched and talked about, and I never watched it, and I like watched an episode or two. It just wasn't my thing. Like, I don't watch any like Mandalorian or any. I just don't watch really any television. I just watch movies because, like I said, I can sit down and like when I get back up again, the movie's done. I went through my journey with the characters and stuff. And that's not to say that like television definitely has its pros and stuff, and you can like really get into characters and write a lot. You can just really flesh things out a lot compared to a movie where it's like there's only so much economically you can do with story development and characters within like a narrative featured time length. But I think that gives it more. It gives it limitations and stuff. And I think about film, we talked about this, was sometimes when you start a show, like when you write a show, you don't know, like you have an ending already, like you have maybe like an arc or something, but sometimes with shows, like they'll like do the show and they don't even know how it's going to end. Mm-hmm. So they have to keep writing like new seasons, and then it's like, where's it going? Like you don't even know, you can't even trust the writers to know where it's going to go. Like it wasn't in whatever the ending is. It's like that wasn't what the ending was in the beginning, because you just wrote more and more like seasons. Like you're just continuing some story. Whereas like in film, it's like, no, this is the script. To the best of their ability, they're getting everything on the script. They don't need to change things. And you have everything is planned out, and you have from the beginning to the end, and everything is like connected. Like the writer or whatever, that the ending was meant to be that way from the beginning to the end. It was all planned. And TV kind of like will just continue on and on. And
Yeah.
Kind of gets kind of stale at times.
No, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. I like the conciseness of films because the intention's there and it's solid and you know where they're going with the story is their true vision.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas TV, I feel like there's a lot more involvement from other hands on the project. And like you said, drags on. I like so many showrunners would talk about how they have an ending in mind, but then of course the network wants more seasons if it's successful, so then they drag it on. In the example of Game of Thrones, the guy wrote the books. They kind of knew the ending, but they had to go, the books aren't done, so they had to go off the books and they had to make their own show. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for a lot of people, they said that's when it fell off. And having to drag it all out is what like really fucks up TV for me.
I feel like also the quality is lower because you're getting a budget of pretty much the same amount for like a movie, but you need like 10 episodes or something like that. Like you'll get 30 like Fargo. I was listening to Tarantino was on the Dax Shepard show and whatever it's called for like Armchair Expert.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
He was talking about how like Fargo got like $3 million an episode for 10 episodes, which is like 30 million. But that's like 30 million spread out like 10 hours. Whereas like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had a budget of like 90, 100 million for like 4 hours with like full cut. You know what I mean? And it's like you're compacting, you're getting like more bang for your buck for like a shorter, more concise thing rather than like spreading out a budget. We're going to have to like write dialogue scenes of them people sitting in a house, like just talking for like 5-10 minutes or whatever, you know? And it's just like, there's just some aesthetic stuff that I don't really like. Because I'm very much a style over substance type guy. And I like cool shots and good storytelling, you know, where on TV, like you have to spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, it reminds me of animes and mangas and stuff, and how I feel like there's a lot of people out there that do animes and they don't know where it's ending. They don't know where they're going with it, and that bugs the hell out of me. I like animes like Full Metal Alchemist where it's like really concise story and you know where it's going and you know how it's ending and it ends. Yeah. Like I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think more recently, like I like miniseries. I'll go watch a miniseries because like I know, or like anthology series, but like a miniseries, something like True Detective, it's just like 8 episodes, and it's done, and then you can watch another like True Detective season, but it's a different story. It's not like a continuation, so you can just like watch that if you want. And then, like I said, I've been watching Cabinets of Curiosity, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinets of Curiosity, and that's anthology, where every episode is a different director and a different story, and it's like. You don't have to like start in the beginning or the end. You can just pick an episode and just watch it, and then you can just like slowly like get to watching each one of them. And I guess the pressure's different or whatever. And like the guy, Junji Ito, what's his name?
I think that's right, Junji Ito.
Junji Ito's Maniac show, like that is just like little short stories that you can just like watch, and I'm like more into that honestly. I like finishing things. I'm just a finisher, you know? Like I like when I read a book, like I can't start another book unless I'm like finish that book, and it'll take me like hella long to read a book. So even though I want to start another book, and I'll just be like trudging through it. Like I read like Atlas Shrugged, and that's like 1,100 pages, and it took me like over 6 months to finish it, and I was just drudging through it and stuff, and but I couldn't. I wanted to read other books, but I just couldn't start another book until I finished it. Like, I had to finish that book, and then like I got to like reading. And same with like Moby Dick. I just thought I have to finish this book. I just forced myself to finish it, and even though I hated it.
I'm the opposite. If like a book's not going well with me, I'll put it down. Like Ulysses.
Oh yeah, I knew you weren't gonna finish that.
Yeah, that was like, oh my god, it's like a whole different language almost, and it was like so dragging on. I was like, well. I could finish this, or I could read like a shorter book and then come back to it.
Yeah, and this doesn't sound like entertaining. Like I used to be like, oh, I'm really want to read intellectual, philosophical shit, and then I would read shit, and it wouldn't be that good. And then I'll read like a novel or something like a story. It's really interesting and it's more entertaining and stuff. But why don't we talk about maybe you could talk about some of your favorite TV shows, and then maybe what some that you and your girlfriend like too, and like how you guys pick shows. As well.
My favorite show is probably Mr. Robot, for sure. That show blew my mind. I can't get over it. Sad it ended. Glad it ended though too, because like you said, I don't want it to be dragged on. I thought it was so cinematic for TV. It really like blew me away. The cinematography, the writing, just how surreal it is. Those are all things I want in my TV. For example, like Twin Peaks. Love Twin Peaks. That's another one that like left a big impression on me. More recently,
You also like Lost.
I like Lost. I like Lost because when I was growing up, that was something my parents were watching. And that was a big thing we would watch like every Wednesday or whenever it came out. And I wouldn't say it's a great show. It definitely drags on, and it definitely, like you said, the writers have to like keep going with like whatever the hell they're given. I don't know. It's definitely a fun show. It's a really good show. Not shitting on it or anything. More recently, though, I really like Chernobyl. I thought Chernobyl was really good.
Yeah, that's like a good mini series. That's you can watch, and it's interesting and compact. And Too Old to Die Young.
That one's good.
Too Old to Die Young is like my cup of tea when it comes to television streaming. Really cool looking. I like the story. I like this just the style of it. I know it's just like really experimental and different from mainstream television, and it's like art house television. I'm a fan of art house television. I heard that Twin Peaks is cool. I haven't seen the Return, but I heard it's like cool experimental.
It's one of my favorite series for sure. Twin Peaks and The Return together are like all you want from TV.
So like when you and your girlfriend sit down to watch a show, like how do you decide, and like how do you like compromise with what you want to watch and what she wants? Like how do you guys decide, you and your girlfriend?
It's really what we're in the mood for. So if we want to watch something easy, maybe we'll throw on some reality TV or something. It's like Survivor. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, you love Survivor.
I love Survivor. And then she'll watch The Bachelor. And so like I'll like watch that with her, and sometimes it's like funny just to like see how vain these people are, you know? Or like it's just cool. And it's like easy, digestible watch.
Like, what are some of your favorite shows you guys have watched together?
Well, we're watching Last of Us right now. But sometimes she'll like skip ahead of things.
I actually do want to watch Last of Us because I've heard it's the same story as the game. Actually.
It is, yeah.
And I played the game.
Yeah.
And I think we got the game right there, actually.
Yeah, have it back there.
So maybe I'll watch it just because I played the game and it was good. And
it's definitely, like you said, in the zeitgeist right now. I'm not saying it's the best show ever, and I think people definitely blow it out of proportion how good it is. It is very well done, though. And
yeah, people seem to really love it.
Yeah. But one show that I really love is White Lotus. I love White Lotus.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that show. I haven't watched any of it. I haven't watched any of these shows at all. Like I don't.
I mean, it's fine. You're not a TV guy.
But yeah, I'm not a TV guy.
If you do ever want to get into TV, would recommend Sopranos, White Lotus. Yeah, and Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, obviously. I know you watched season 1 or something.
Yeah, just off the rip of my ripping head. If I'm gonna rip it off my head right now, like my favorite shows, I would say I mentioned True Detective, comedy, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm all the way through like several times. Like I love that show.
Yeah.
I always put it on. Like Total Die Young, that's like more recent. Yeah, what other shows? Those are like the ones I can think off my head that I fucked with. Oh, Mindhunter.
Dude, that's one of my favorite shows.
Mindhunter. Mindhunter is like one of the best shows ever. I love serial killers. We can do a whole episode about serial killers. It's literally the best show ever. Like one of the best. Like Netflix's best show.
Yeah.
Is Mindhunter.
Yeah, hands down. I'm not like a big Stranger Things guy. I don't think it's that good of a show.
Yeah, I watched the first season. No, don't apologize.
I'm not crazy about Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I thought the first season was cool because it gave me like 80s ET kind of vibes. But overall, I don't think it's that good of a show.
It's just like the cultural impact of, it's just like something that just blows up, and for some reason it's big because some 80s stuff and it's nostalgia. And we can talk about all nostalgia shit. But Mindhunter is just a good ass show, no nostalgia exploitation, just like fucking straight up serial killer shit. It's just like dope and dark and not corny. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just thought that's one of those great shows that's elevated television for sure. And David Fincher, and they're not even going to do a new season because they don't see why it's good or whatever.
Yeah,
What did they
apparently.
say?
That's what David Fincher said, was that Netflix thought that it wasn't profitable for them and that it wasn't getting high enough numbers. So they can't really justify funding it.
Bro, that's insane because that's the best show I've seen on Netflix for sure.
It's so good. It's so good. The way it plays out, the way it's written, the way it's shot. Every aspect of that show is what I want in television.
Netflix has some good serial killer shit on there.
They all, like, dude, I mean, like, every month they're putting out some new documentary about serial killers.
Yeah, I like the Ted Bundy one.
Yeah, there's so many, dude. There's one they just released recently called The Murdoch Murders. It's
Yeah,
about this family in like 2020, I think, like really recent. There was like killing people or something like that. The other ones they like jump on is like any like kind of event. So it's like Fire Festival,
yeah.
and like Netflix and Hulu will compete with their own documentaries about the same topic.
They're not subtle about that stuff.
So the Oscars are coming up, I believe, Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, that's right. Sunday.
Yeah.
Are there any things that like you're really passionate about? Any movies that like you watched last year that like you're really vying for the win?
Considering like COVID and everything, we had a good year for movies. Like it's one of the best years since 2019. Probably the best year since 2019.
Definitely.
There were some good movies. Everything Everywhere will win. Probably Best Picture.
You think so?
Even though it's not my favorite one.
Well, what's your favorite one then?
Well, why don't we pull up the nominees? Out of my favorites,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So Top Gun Maverick,
Mm-hmm.
really like that. And then I like the Banshees of Inisherin a lot. Those two are probably like my favorite ones.
Yeah.
And then I also liked The Fablemans, and I liked All Quiet on the Western Front.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, these other ones are like, they're fine, you know, like Everything Everywhere, like I'm not as big on that as a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like people thought that was like, it's cool. Like it definitely like pushes the boundaries and stuff and the cinematic language. But it's not my favorite movie here.
Yeah.
And then Avatar, I liked Avatar. Elvis was alright. Tar was like, okay. I haven't seen Women Talking and I haven't seen Triangle of Sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Everything Everywhere will probably win.
Well, I love that movie. I think if it wins, it deserves it. It's well deserved because it's such a fun movie. I saw the movie maybe 3 times this year. Not planning on seeing it 3 times, but every time I saw it, I was like entertained. I was sucked in once again. I felt what the characters felt, and I was intrigued by it. I had a fun time. I can't say that about every movie there, you know?
Yeah, so, but what do you think will win Best Picture?
What do I think? I think Everything Everywhere has a good shot. I actually think that All Quiet on the Western Front has a decent shot of winning because I think that movie is like really well done. I think a lot of people really appreciated it. I personally love Banshees of Inisherin. I think that one is like really good.
Yeah, that one's like my favorite, honestly. If I had
It was really entertaining. I had a great time watching it. The characters are so good in that. The actors do a great job. And overall, I just thought that was like a really like one of the most fun movies I saw last year. I like Tar a lot too. I thought technically it was like sound. I thought Kate Blanchett did an amazing performance for that. And I love the downfall storyline of any like, you know, asshole character. So for me, that was very satisfying. The last one is Triangle of Sadness. I think that was like pretty good. I don't think it's best picture worthy, but I do think that it was a fun watch and it has a lot to say.
Yeah, I want to see that. But when it comes to going to the movies and seeing a film, like out of all of those, the one that blew me away was like Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick is, yeah, amazing. I didn't get to see that in theaters.
Like I went to go see it in IMAX and I was kind of having like a down day. Maybe I felt like it. And then I remember I got a Starbucks like coffee, iced coffee before.
Mm-hmm.
And then it really like I haven't seen an action movie like that gave me that like adrenaline like high,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember when, but it was just like sick as fuck watching that.
Yeah.
The flying and stuff in particular. It was just a great,
That they were able
great
to do.
cinematic experience. Probably the best cinematic experience of last year.
Yeah.
One of for sure.
Okay.
That or like either like Batman. I like
Mhm.
Batman a lot. I'm a big fan of Batman.
Oh, you are.
Batman.
Yeah. I like Nope a lot. I thought Nope was good.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about our favorite movies though. Let's just talk about like what got the nominations.
I'm just telling you, dude. I thought Nope deserves some recognition, at least.
Yeah. Anyway, so what do you say? What are you saying for best picture?
For Best Picture, I think it's going to be Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And that's what I want, too.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to best actor category. So we got Brendan Fraser, Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Bill Nye, and Paul Mescal. I haven't seen two of these films, The Living and After Sun, but I'm going to give it to Brendan Fraser.
I haven't seen The Whale, so I'm really not one to talk on it, but I did really like Colin Farrell. I thought he did a great job in that.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know. I can't really speak on that one that much. I know for Best Actress, it's between Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett. You saw both those movies. What's your opinion on that?
I think Michelle Yeoh will win.
Yeah?
Yeah, because just like the whole hype machine of this movie and her, like, there's nothing particularly better about it. I just think she's going to win over Cate Blanchett.
Mm-hmm.
And Cate Blanchett was fine. Like, she was good.
I think I'd go with Cate Blanchett, personally.
Yeah. Yeah, what are the other people? Who are the other people nominated? Yeah, Michelle Williams, Fablemans, she was good. Anna de Armas, Blonde.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then Andrea Riseborough.
And what?
And Leslie.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That whole controversy.
What's the controversy?
That, like, her friends lobbied for her to get in to the Oscars. Like, she did it. Like, I don't know. There's some, like, whole stupid thing where she campaigned wrong or something like that. And she was able to get a nomination, like, without the approval of something. I don't know. Like, she's a great actress. So, I believe she deserves to be there, probably.
Yeah. So, best animated feature, I haven't seen any of these.
Turning Red, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, The Sea Beast, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I saw Pinocchio, I saw Sea Beast, I saw Puss in Boots. I'd say Pinocchio, for me personally, out of those three that I've seen. I thought it was like really amazing, well done, stop motion. It's really cool, like their take on Pinocchio, where he's like creepier, and it's kind of a darker story. And I thought it was really good. I would go with that one for sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of these. Best director, I believe Daniels.
You think it's gonna be the Daniels?
Yeah.
Over what, like Steven Spielberg?
Martin McDonough, Todd Field, Ruben Östlund, Steven Spielberg. The Daniels are gonna win.
Yeah, but who do you want to win? I don't care who's gonna win. Who do you want to win?
I mean, probably Martin McDonough. I don't think there's particularly anything crazy. I haven't seen Triangles of Sadness, but like Tar was fine. The direction, I guess. Fablemans was just a good movie, but nothing crazy about the direction. No, I think the Daniels probably just deserve it.
You think they directed the movie well?
Yeah, it's just insane. Like it's just how they had all those shots and all the editing and putting it together. Yeah, you have to. It's all so organized and flows and stuff for sure.
I agree with that. I think they probably are my take to win as well.
So when we get to the best international feature film, we have All Quiet on the Western Front is on there, and that's nominated for Best Picture as well. So that's probably going to win. And
yeah.
There's all these like no-name movies that I don't even want to talk about. So I just think All Quiet on the Western Front is going to win.
EO, I know that one.
Argentina Girl?
Yeah, Argentina, 1985. But yeah, I mean, when a foreign picture is nominated for Best Picture, I think that it's a dead giveaway that it's probably going to be a shoo-in to win.
Best Documentary, Best Supporting Actor. I have seen all of these films. Brendan Gleeson, Banshees. Oh no. Brian Tyree Henry?
Mm-hmm.
He's nominated for Causeway. I've never even heard of this movie.
I think it's with Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, yeah. I've never even heard of that shit. Judd Hirsch and the Fablemans. Barry Keoghan in Banshees of the Inisherin.
Mm-hmm. 2 from Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, and then we have Ke Huy Quan.
Yeah. He's probably going to win. He was my favorite.
I want to give it to Barry Keoghan. But I think Ke Huy Quan will probably win.
Best Supporting Actress, Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Carrie Condon for Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis from Everything Everywhere, Stephanie Hsu from Everything Everywhere, and then Hong Chau from The Whale. I think I would give it to Carrie Condon.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Carrie Condon.
I think she was really good in it. I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis should even be nominated. I love her. I think she's great, but I don't see how she's Best Supporting Actress in that. She's I feel like her part's so small. I don't see how she would win. Best Original Score, Babylon, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshee of Inisherin, The Fableman, and All Quiet on the Western Front. What is your best original score?
Well, Babylon has that song in the end where it's like. Which I like that song a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then All Quiet on the Western Front had a good score too.
It had a really good score.
That one was like, that one, which I felt it.
Yeah.
But I like the Babylon score a lot.
Yeah, I like Babylon. I think Babylon's gonna win. Justin Hurwitz is amazing, dude. So I'm gonna give it to Babylon for sure.
Yeah. I don't remember the Everything Everywhere All at Once like I remember Babylon or All Quiet on the Western Front. So
yeah. Best cinematography: Empire of Light, All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, Elvis, and Tar.
Yeah. So we got the Deekster in there, right? Probably deserved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's gonna win. All Quiet on the Western Front is a serious contender. That might win.
Yeah.
Bardo, False Chronicle of Handful of Truth has really good cinematography.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. Elvis and Tar, I don't think any of those two will win. I think it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would personally, I would do that one. Just the shots they were able to pull off in the war, blew me away.
Yeah, I think All Quiet is a serious technical contender in this round of the Oscars. That and Top Gun Maverick are probably going to be competing for those. Anything technical, I think they'll get a good, a handful of Oscars perhaps.
Yeah.
For that.
I agree with that.
Okay. Best Original Screenplay.
Okay. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees of Inisherin, Triangle of Sadness, The Fableman, and Tar. I gotta think about this one for a second. Do you have one that you favor over these? Well,
Banshees of Inisherin, great screenplay. But I think Everything Everywhere All at Once will win Best Original Screenplay, just because of just how crazy the movie is.
Yeah, but I don't know. It is very well written. I think the story is the one thing that carries. I wouldn't say carries, but it elevates Everything Everywhere All at Once from a sci-fi movie to a very grounded movie. So I think you might have a point there.
It's either that or Banshees.
I think Banshees was really good too. Triangle of Sadness I really enjoyed. I really enjoy that story and what the writer was able to tell. I think it's very impactful. I still think about that movie and it's fun. You have a good time watching that movie. Tar, very serious. It felt very grounded though. The Fablemans. I think I'd go with Banshees as well. Yeah. But
I think Everything Everywhere will win.
Yeah. I agree. Best Adapted Screenplay: Living, Top Gun Maverick, Woman Talking, Glass Onion, and All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh.
I didn't like Glass Onion. You know that. So I'm not gonna say that one.
So Top Gun Maverick or All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd say probably Top Gun Maverick. Just because
Wait, Glass Onion is best adapted?
Yeah.
Adapted from what?
I guess it was a book or something. Yeah. I think Top Gun
Yeah.
Maverick.
Glass Onion screenplay, like, it's not that good.
No, it's not.
Why was it
I
best
don't know.
adapted screenplay? That's so weird.
Yeah. Best visual effects. Top Gun Maverick, Black Panther, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, and The Batman.
Top Gun, Avatar, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Mm-hmm.
Those three, you go to any three of those.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Avatar one's just fucking crazy, dude. I'd probably have to go with Avatar.
Yeah, maybe. I want to go with Top Gun, but yeah, maybe Avatar. The Batman was sick too, but I don't think it will win.
No. I could see any I wouldn't be surprised if those won, though. Like, I'd be surprised if...
Best costume design?
What are the nominees?
Babylon.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Harris Goes to Paris, Black Panther, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Elvis.
Yeah, I gotta go with Babylon.
Babylon, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Everything Everywhere is also a contender, again, for that. Just like how many different costumes they have for that.
Yeah, you're right, dude. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if it just won every category. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's what it's been doing. Like, it won all the categories at the Spirit Award. Best film editing.
ooh, okay.
Top Gun Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Oh,
Banshees, Elvis, and Tar.
Top Gun or Everything Everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, it's down to that again, isn't it? Yeah.
But it might just be Everything Everywhere. Like, I would
Yeah.
have to say
I think that's my favorite edited movie this year.
Everything Everywhere. The editing is crazy.
Yeah. Production design,
Hmm.
Babylon, Fableman, All Quiet, Avatar, and Elvis.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah. Or Babylon or something. I feel like
I
Babylon
don't think they
was
would
crazy.
win it, but it was good.
Yeah.
But All Quiet on the Western Front, yeah. They did an incredible job.
They did, yeah. Makeup and hairstyling. Black Panther, All Quiet, Elvis, The Whale, and The Batman. It's gotta be The Whale, right? Just like seeing,
Oh, yeah, that. Yeah. I'm
like
gonna go with
seeing
The
his
Whale.
like suit and everything he had to like put on himself, like changing him as a person. Yeah, like that's pretty crazy
Yeah.
to have your main star look like that. Best sound. Maverick, All Quiet, Avatar, Elvis, and The Batman.
All Quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah. All Quiet on the Western Front.
yeah.
Uh,
The sound's crazy in that.
yeah. But Top Gun Maverick is also good.
It is really good. I mean, they're all really good sound.
Yeah,
Batman's crazy as well.
Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front.
I'll go with that. And that's it. That's it for our nominees.
Wait, so Best Sound is just its own one category? Because they used to do Best Mixing and Best Sound Editing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the picks.
We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I think we're onto something with Everything Everywhere All at Once and All Quiet on the Western Front taking the majority of the Oscars.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that just wins everything. Everything Everywhere.
Yeah.
Even though All Quiet is very technical, great movie. Best foreign film. For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
We're kind of had this narrative now thread of All Quiet on the Western Front on
Yeah.
this podcast because
Yeah.
we've talked about it like the most of any movie.
I know, but it was a really good movie. It's definitely worth our praise. You should all see it if you haven't yet.
So on Thursday night I had Wingstop. Like I was like just shitting my pants like the whole night and stuff. Like really affected my sleep, and I had to go work the next day in Manhattan, and I'm just like driving there like fuck dude, I'm like so out of it, and I have to work there, and it was a stressful day, and I thought I was only gonna be working for 6 hours, but I had worked for 8.5 hours, and I was just like suffering along and just in a bad mood kind of. But then like I come home and we go see Operation Fortune, Ruse De Guerre, directed by the king Guy Ritchie, and we see that at 10 p.m. We go to the theater, and the theater is completely empty.
No one's there. No one's excited for this movie. We've been following this movie, though.
Yeah. Like, it was supposed to come out a year ago.
But because of the war in Ukraine and they have Ukrainian gangsters in the movie,
Yeah.
it was pushed back, and I guess maybe didn't test well with audiences or something.
I don't know. I never read about the testing with audience thing, but I think the Ukrainian war definitely stifled its momentum and promotion and stuff to like push it back. And I think the fact that like we just heard about the release like a week or two or a week and a half ago, like, oh, it's going to be released, and there's like literally no promotion behind it besides like on Guy Ritchie's Instagram, it's like promoting it and stuff. Yeah, they pushed it back, and I think it just lost a lot of its potential compared to like having it be advertised, you know, because you got like some stars in it, you know. I mean, you got Jason Statham, which is like a box office draw. Like Aubrey Plaza, you know, she's more like kind of indie. You wouldn't like count on her for a box office. But especially Jason Statham, you got Hugh Grant, and then Josh Hartnett, who's not really like a leading guy. Like I don't really know what he's been in like that's like leading, but
Yeah, he was in like, was he Black Hawk Down and like that era of
yeah,
like,
he was in some other shit. I forgot what it was, but anyway, like the it's really Jason Statham, Guy Ritchie action movie, you know, spy type like draw. Like that's like the whole draw of you know the marketing.
It's a shame that like not more people saw this, because I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan, and you know, like I love his action movies. When he's on, he's on. It had a good story. It was funny. It had like Guy Ritchie-isms in it. You could tell it was from him, and it was a fun time. I wish it had been advertised more, and if they had more time and more money, they probably could have, but they kind of just snuck it under the rug here.
Yeah, well, I think they had money because it was a $50 million budget. And it opened in the UK and Europe in like the beginning of January, I think.
Okay.
And then it opened here this past weekend. But it's made like $30 million against a 50 budget. So technically it's a flop, you know? But is it a flop when it comes to the film?
No.
Because the film, yeah.
I would say no. Definitely not. I had a good time. Listen, there's definitely times where the movie fell flat. He wasn't at his full potential. It wasn't like Lock, Stock, Snatch or The Gentleman.
Can you give us a little plot?
So Operation Fortune, Ruse De Guerre, that's how you pronounce it?
I think so.
Follows Jason Statham, who plays Orson Fortune, who is a Secret Service agent for Britain.
Special ops badass guy that Jason Statham can play.
What you expect from him, essentially.
He's playing himself.
But he's not the most reliable special ops dude. Because when we find him, he's pretty much, like self-medicated on wine or something.
Good wine.
Good wine.
Like
only good wine.
The good shit. Yeah.
And then it's about this object was stolen. And of course, Orson and his team, Aubrey Plaza, the guy who plays JJ, I don't know him.
Bugsy Malone.
He was really good. I really liked him.
He's in The Gentleman.
Oh, yeah?
He's
Is he one of the boxers?
Yeah, he's one of the boxer rappers. He's like,
yeah, that part was good. He was like he killed it in this.
Yeah.
And then Aubrey Plaza is like some coder or something that was like an addition to their team. They don't really know her, but they grow to like her a lot. And they have to get this object back, and they don't know what it is, and they don't know who stole it. They just know that there's a big sale happening in Cannes, and that's where Hugh Grant comes in. He's trying to sell this object, and he's this like billionaire evil villain, but he's hilarious. And his one kryptonite is he's obsessed with this movie actor who's played by Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
And this movie actor Josh Hartnett plays is such an asshole, and he plays it so well. And Hugh Grant is so fucking funny in this movie, dude. If you liked him in The Gentleman, you're gonna love him in this movie.
Yeah, he's just good in general. Like Hugh Grant is great, but basically they have some dirt on this big movie star who's like a fucking douchebag, like jerk movie star guy, super famous, and they use that dirt to blackmail him in order to bring him on this mission where he needs to play himself in order to get closer into this arms dealer, this war arms dealer. Like this billionaire arms dealer is like a fan of him, so he has to like go in and befriend him, and then to like seduce him on a personal level so they can like find the information about like some arms deal. Yeah. Josh Hartnett is, like I said, I think he was channeling, like, this is like what I feel like Chris Evans is like in real life.
You think Chris Evans?
Yeah, I think Chris Evans is like this like douchebag, like only can play himself in like real life. Like that's when I saw him, I was like, dude, this is definitely what Chris Evans is like in real life. He's probably like this like douchebag. That's like who came to mind for sure.
For me, it was Tom Cruise. I know Guy Ritchie and Tom Cruise are friends, so I don't think it was Tom Cruise. But just when Don Francesco is like, "I'm gonna do my own stunts," and he's like yelling at people on set, I'm like, "Oh, like Tom Cruise." That's kind of like
yeah. But he's like younger, you know, like he's more in that Chris Evans age range.
Yeah,
Don Francesco's probably like 30, 35.
Yeah,
plus.
Tom Cruise is
pushing 40.
He's like deceiving though, Tom Cruise, because looks so young, but he's so old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like the magic of the movies. The real highlight of one of the highlights of the film is Hugh Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hugh Grant is so he's definitely so funny, he's so witty. The dialogue in this, especially when his scenes like really hit, like the dialogue is good in this through and through. But what with Hugh Grant, he's just like he's just on it, and he's probably is my favorite part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in The Gentleman, he's like also kind of like one of the best parts of The Gentleman too. Just the dialogue and the shit that he says, and like this like subtle gayness about him too that he does like in both movies.
Yeah,
because he's just such a man crush on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the plot, it's kind of like average run of the mill sort of like kind of spy shit. It's not anything. They're not reinventing anything when it comes to like a plotting of this film, and I kind of like didn't really know. Like I had a general idea kind of what it was about. Like they're gonna infiltrate this guy, but when it came to the details of the mission and what they were supposed to be like extracting or whatever, like I was a little bit fuzzy and I kind of tuned out a little bit. It's basic in that aspect, and then there are stylistic Ritchieisms in it, but I felt like there could have been more. Like it's not on those levels of like Rock and Rolla, like Snatch, like Gentleman. It's a little bit toned down. It's a little commercially a little bit, and the way it's shot it's not the best shot Guy Ritchie picture we've seen style wise. It's kind of a little bit basic operations with the shooting stuff, and then we can also. I want you to talk about the fight scenes too.
Yeah, the fight scenes were really lackluster for me. It's just like Jason Statham throwing his arm at someone and he never moves. He just walks at him and punches him.
Yeah.
And that to me was like, okay, it definitely wasn't the highlight of the movie.
No.
Like you said, Hugh Grant was the highlight of the movie. I turned on like every time he was on screen. There were definitely parts where I like tuned out of the movie.
Yeah, there was definitely times like kind of because also like I said, I was kind of dealing with this food poisoning and tired and stuff from a stressful day. Like I wish I could have maybe paid attention more. I would have maybe had a better time. But there are like cool sections where he does some like Scorsese shit with like the raindrops sequence.
Oh, that was really good. Yeah,
that's like very Scorsese, and he does some split screen stuff. He does some sort of elliptical editing where we see something like we think we're going to see an action scene. Like the part we think we're going to see an action scene, and then it just cuts to him like leaving this fortress.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the fuck happened? And then it goes back and we see it like happen like over time. And then the parts we've seen, it skips. It's like a cool little Guy Ritchie elliptical thing that he's done before in other films. And it's really like what makes him stand out to me as like a storyteller is that sort of style. And he does it in like Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Snatch and like Lock, Stock and
Rock and Rolla.
And he does it in The Gentleman too.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Like a lot of things where it's like, oh, this person got robbed and we don't know who robbed him, and it's all like the circle around, and we have Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really why I like to go see a Guy Ritchie movie. I'm not going to be like this plot. It's not enough for me to go see a plot if it's directed by some like hack Hollywood guy. Like I'd go to a Guy Ritchie movie because I want to see that sauce. I want that Guy Ritchie sauce. I want that flavor. You know what I mean? That's like I get inspired by that.
Yeah, definitely. He inspires me so much. Every time I see his movie, I know even if it's a flop, he's gonna have. You said like his Guy Ritchie-isms in it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a fun time.
Yeah.
And that's what's important to me. I always felt like when I watch his movies, he's not trying to be anything other than himself. And he makes it really fun. Like his dialogue is so good. It's so snappy and witty.
Yeah.
And his jokes when they hit, like really hit.
Yeah. His personality seeps into the picture.
I think you could say that.
His personality seeps into the picture, like the way that people like talk and act and dress.
Yeah.
For sure. Like he has a dress code in all of his movies.
Oh, he definitely does. Like he styles them himself. His love for chess comes out.
Yeah.
His love for wine comes out.
Yeah.
His love for grills come out.
Yeah.
Like every picture he does, like some part of him and what's going on in his life seeps into it. And I respect that. I think that's cool to like not shy away from putting yourself into your writing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like his philosophy comes out in it too,
Mm-hmm.
as well. Ruse De Guerre is a fun time. I'd watch it again because, like
Hope to.
we're big Guy Ritchie fans here. Like we're actually really big Guy Ritchie fans. Like I've seen all of his movies except for The Beach or whatever, The Getaway with Madonna or something like that. That one, but
Yeah.
I heard that that's like a really bad movie.
Yeah, people definitely say it's his worst one.
Yeah,
That's the one I haven't seen either.
yeah.
And no, I haven't seen Wrath of Man as
Oh
well.
shit.
But I want to see that because that's like, you
Yeah, we
know.
gotta watch. That one's cool. That one's cool. That one's sick.
Hmm.
That's like his heat, kind of.
You feel like there's better action scenes with Jason Statham in that than this.
I think Wrath of Man has more of the juice sauce of Guy Ritchie,
Hmm.
and it's more concise with the story, and there's just some cool edits in there. And Fortune is more ostentatious and like flamboyant and stuff. But honestly, I don't know which one I actually would like more. They're kind of maybe on the same level because Jason Statham is doing his thing, but also you got Hugh Grant
Yeah,
and shit. Oh no, I haven't seen Aladdin. Actually, I haven't seen Aladdin.
I saw Aladdin. It's
Yeah.
not that good. Aubrey Plaza, I thought she was like pretty good in this. I thought she was pretty funny.
Yeah, she's fine. She's good. Like she's funny and stuff. She's very patronizing in this. She's sassy, patronizing, kind of snarky
Mm-hmm.
in
Definitely.
this. And
But
I feel like
that's
that's
her.
just who. Yeah, it is just her. I guess she's playing a characterization of someone, but not necessarily playing a character that's like outside of her range.
Mm-hmm.
Because she just kind of plays those really sassy, sarcastic. Yeah, darling. Yeah, darling. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Been on a roll for a while.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of her. I think she's like on a huge come up right now, especially in White Lotus and other movies she's done recently. Really like coming into her own as an actress.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about the movie though is I feel like near the end of the story they rely a little too heavily on the plot and what's happening, and that's like we said the weakest aspect of the film.
And
when
the
you
action
go,
was like okay.
yeah, when you go to the end though, and like suddenly the bad guy is like this cardboard box guy, of a character, it kind of falls flat at the end a little bit for me personally. Didn't take away from my enjoyment of the film, but that's like a little something that I had a critique of.
Yeah, he kind of has a commentary on, I guess, war and like tech too. Like a subtle little
Mm-hmm.
commentary he kind of throws in there. Which is kind of cool. It kind of reflects our times.
Yeah, which I'm excited for his next one, Covenant. Even though
we're gonna watch Covenant. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Covenant comes out in a month.
yeah, it
Comes
does.
out in a
I'm
month, which is crazy. Like
pretty lucky this year that we get two Guy Ritchie movies.
yeah.
It seems a little more serious though. It really, when I saw the
Well,
trailer,
from the trailer, yeah.
it doesn't really have that Guy Ritchieism that I expect and want in his films. But I know he branches off to other things a lot.
Yeah, when he commits to do more of a serious war picture, tonally he's gonna probably be more serious. When he does something about like a secret agent, it's gonna be like classy James Bond type shit. So you're gonna get more like quips and more like fun,
Yeah.
Whereas like with a war movie, I don't know. I haven't even seen the trailer
Yeah.
for the come out of nothing.
But I am excited
No
for
knowledge.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Guy Ritchie collaboration. Like
Yeah.
that's something I think is going to be really cool, and I like both of them a lot. So
Yeah, it's cool that Guy Ritchie is doing like more movies now. Like he's trying to do a movie every year.
yeah,
And
he's trying to do what he finds interesting.
Yeah.
Which is like something I really respect. He's not worried about what other people think of it. He's worried about like what he wants to do, and I respect the hell out of that.
Operation Fortune isn't top tier Guy Ritchie. Like it's not on that level of like a gentleman. It's kind of like middle. It's like mid tier Guy Ritchie.
It is mid tier, but even mid tier Guy Ritchie for me, I'll watch because I like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, it's kind of like Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Very much so.
If you like Man from U.N.C.L.E., you like this. Yeah. I wish there was a little bit more style in it, a little bit more flair. That's all I'm saying. And any real Guy Ritchie plot's gonna be kind of basic, but it's like what he brings to the table that makes it special and unique.
Yeah, I think he's also could be very technical of a director,
Yeah.
which I think is cool. Some of the shots, like crane shots, were really really cool.
Yeah. His dialogue is good.
Yeah.
Ain't half an bastard.
What would you say is your favorite Guy Ritchie movie?
Lock, Stock, Snatch, and The Gentleman.
Yeah.
And those can like switch in and out. Like Gentlemen, like they all can like flip them. But Lock, Stock is really the cool, gritty British one.
Mm-hmm.
And Snatch is like so fucking. That's just like steroids. Lock, Stock.
Yeah, it is. It feels like they're in the same universe. All
Yeah.
three of them.
It's like Brad. They just threw in Brad Pitt's character because they needed like the promotion.
Yeah.
Because he's not even like supposed to be that guy. It's like a Colin Farrell type character.
Yeah.
And he's like they're taking the least British person, the least British actor to play like the most niche British person you can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that like maybe it has I have a little thing about it for, but it's still good.
But he still plays the character well.
Yeah.
And those gypsies, like, I love them.
Yeah.
They're like such good characters in like, the Guy Ritchie universe.
Yeah. Those are like ensemble pieces, like Lock, Stock, Snatch, Rock and Rolla.
Definitely
those are like different stories kind of moving in and out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the last time he really did that. I mean, yeah, Rock and Rolla, and then everything else is kind of more like you following kind of a single character or two people with the same mission.
In Gentlemen, I feel like they kind of they meet you halfway, where you really are following
McConaughey.
Yeah, you're following McConaughey most of the time, but then there's like other little storylines throughout where you feel like they're gonna lead somewhere, but then it ends with McConaughey. But I do like that they have Colin Farrell in it. They have Charlie Hunnam and Hugh Grant's character. I love when he like is able to really branch out and create these like crazy characters for everyone. Because that's what makes like a fun Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, for real. But Operation Fortune, Ruse De Guerre is really straightforward. Yeah, I'd probably give it 3.5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. I was gonna ask you what you're gonna rate it. I think I'd give it 3.5 as well. Maybe 4 could be argued, but probably not. So we watched the movie Cobra with our friends a couple days ago as well.
Yeah, Cobra, directed by George P. Cosmatos, the
right.
father of Panos Cosmatos, who directed Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy, and also he did an episode of Cabinets of Curiosity, episode titled The Viewing. I think it's episode 7, and it's the best episode on the whole show by a long shot. I liked Cobra a lot. It was dope.
Cobra was cool. It was just like a fun Stallone movie. It had everything you wanted in an 80s action movie, which is just action, cool chase scenes, explosions, a badass hero. I don't know what more you could ask for in the movie.
Yeah, tell them what it's about.
So I'm still trying to wrap my head what it's about. It's about a cult that's apparently going around killing people because they want a new world order. And Cobra is played by Stallone. What's his name? Cobretti?
Cobretti or something like that.
Marion Cobretti.
Something like that.
And he's kind of a bad cop. He works what's called the Zombie Squad, which I assume is the night squad of detectives. And he goes around and he has a reputation of just fucking breaking the law, essentially. And the code of like conducts that police officers have. He roughs up people. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty. And that's what makes him so badass in this movie.
Yeah, he's a vigilante cop kind of guy. Like very dirty, hairy, takes matters into his own hands when the law wouldn't provide it. He has a counterpoint, clean looking, by the book cop that's there. Very reminiscent of definitely Dirty Harry and Bullet.
Steve McQueen.
Yeah, Steve McQueen. The Robert Vaughn character in Bullet is like the by the rules guy, and eventually at the end, like he gets his comeuppance and he's just like, fuck you. Like,
yeah.
Like we were talking about with Operation Fortune, Cobra is a basic story with like cool, like it has everything you want in an action movie from the 80s, like crazy thing. It's written by Sylvester Stallone, but the thing is the direction is what I really like about Cobra, because when you got George P. Cosmatos behind the lens, you're going to get some cool stylistic stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of reds, a lot of neon, cool editing. You got like the thematics of it with this cult and like the violence and everything. I just love the style of it. That kind of sets it apart from just a basic 80s Sly Stallone action thriller thing. And it's just like badass. And you can see with the cult stuff, there's a lot of comparisons with his son's work, and then his work. Because like you got like the cult stuff, you got like the axes and shit. And you can
Oh
see
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and like Mandy and stuff, and all of the reds and the neon stuff, and it's just like it was just cool seeing that, and it really like set it apart. It's just like a cool 90 minutes action movie, and it's like packed in. There's like a lot of cool deaths, and the car chase is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The shooting shit, the whole opening scene is amazing. Like I love the scene, the climax with the fire and stuff. It's just great, and Sylvester Stallone's quips in it are great, and the
Oh my god, so many one-liners, dude.
yeah, like the food motif, and I just love the part in the beginning where you're just like getting the close-ups on this gun, and he's like, "There's 250 rapes a day, like 16 robberies an hour," or like something like that, and then it's just like the gun barrel goes towards the camera, and you just like the bullet comes through and shit. Like that's like cool, you know?
Yeah.
And it could very much be silly, and like maybe it is a little bit camp because it's like 1985, whatever, 86, just in the middle of the 80s when we're getting these like kind of these cheesy campy ass movies and stuff, but this didn't really have too much of that, or unless it kind of did it in a cool jestful way, which I admired, and I'm a fan of Cobra.
Yeah, it was definitely a kind of a look into the 80s, for sure. It captured that time period very well, and if you watched it and you didn't even see the date, you would know instantly this is from the 80s.
Yeah.
It is very campy. Campy's not all that bad, you know? It's kind of fun. If I want to have a fun action movie, there's nothing wrong with a little campiness.
Yeah. And there was like a running motif in the film about food.
Yeah, where he's like trying to be super healthy and like watch your diet, and like, as he tells his partner, he's like, you know what your problem is? You eat too many sweet things. Try some fish on rice.
Yeah, and this is written by Stallone. Like he wrote it, dude. He really boiled down the script, because I know he doesn't want a lot of dialogue in his movies, because when he shot Rambo: First Blood, there was like a lot of dialogue in it, and like the original cut, he was like, "This shit is so corny because I'm talking too much," and he just like, "You just gotta cut like all my lines and just boil it down to like a few ingredients of this film, just make it as simple as possible." And I definitely get that feeling in Cobra. It's like just 90 pages. What can we like, you know, the least amount of ingredients that are the best. And you know, he got George P. Cosmatos to direct it, and he pulled through and made something cool.
I think that chase scene in LA is maybe like 10 minutes long.
It's a great scene. It's a great scene.
It's so good, and
amazing
that
car chase.
Yeah, that is like done so well. That like takes that takes up a decent chunk of the movie, and it's like he wrote all that, or they planned it all out together. You know, it's not like there's any dialogue there. It's just so clean and so cool. Very well done. Right before that, we watched Death Proof, and they both gave me the same vibes because of the black cars they drive, and just like how reckless both the movies are, how brutal they can be. You know. I hadn't seen Death Proof. I think that was the last Tarantino movie I hadn't seen. I really liked it. I really enjoyed that movie.
Death Proof is great. Directed by Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino. Everyone knows him.
Who's that?
Well-known indie director. But 2007's Death Proof is its most underrated work. There's really it's just like a great little exploitation movie that he made. He was a director of photography on it too.
I know, that's really cool, because it's like a lot of car rigging scenes and stuff, and a lot of know-how with that.
Yeah, well, I think he was trying to go to grittier handheld, like not handheld, but house-made feel, like a grittier sort of, not amateur, maybe a little juvenile like type feel to it of this more guerrilla, gritty street filmmaking.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that was coming out in like the 70s that you would go see in like a theater. The low budget stuff, even though they had like a budget, obviously, like it's like sleek and really well done, and purposely like has flaws to it, like the film scratches, or like missing reel shit, or like the sound is off, or the color is off. It's all really cool and well done, and especially when they do the title, whether they have a different title, and then it's just like Death Proof. It's
like originally like Tarantino's Thunderbolts or something. It just like cuts to Death Proof.
Yeah, they like changed the title of it. The movie has all the Tarantino-isms in it. You got your feet, you got your dialogue, you just got your fucking crazy violence, bloody, dying in a horrible way.
Yeah. That crash scene was like crazy.
One of the craziest deaths in a Tarantino movie for sure.
Yeah. Brutal and
creative.
Very creative.
There's this movie called Four Flies in Grey Velvet, directed by Dario Argento. The ending scene is this crazy crash into this truck, and I think that he like kind of was inspired by that because there's a lot of Argento shit in Tarantino movies.
Yeah, Tarantino loves giallos.
But there's like specific parts in Dario Argento's kills that he definitely rips off. Like specifically, just that comes to mind, that one, Four Flies in Grey Velvet, is the third installment in the Animal trilogy, which is Brave with the Crystal Plumage, 1970. Then we got Cat O' Nine Tails, which came out, I think, in 71 or 72. And then we got Four Flies in Grey Velvet, which came out the same year as Cat O' Nine Tails. That's this animal trilogy because they all each have something to do with
some animal.
Yeah, the name and the title. Yeah. Tarantino takes a lot of little bits from Dario Argento, and specifically in opera. There's a scene in Kill Bill in the beginning where the gun, you're inside the gun and the trigger gets pulled and the bullet goes through the barrel. You know, and when it kills Uma Thurman, or when he tries to kill Uma Thurman in the beginning, that same thing happens in not only in opera but also in Stendhal Syndrome. They do some like slow bullet time CGI shit, but in opera it's all like practical. But the same shot, like the same thing, is that he does that. And Death Proof with the car crash scene, it's very similar to the end of Four Flies in Grey Velvet, A Kill and Death, because he really loves the operatic set piece death scenes.
Yeah.
Tarantino loves that. And Dario Argento is one of the best at it. That's like why you watch a Dario Argento movie, is to get to those death scenes. And there's also a narrative thread, but the kill scenes are its own operatic shit. Tarantino does his death scenes like Italian movies. Like the westerns and then the horror movies and shit. There's always like some build up with the music and the editing, you know. And in a western like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you have the edits cut to music with Ennio Morricone scoring. It's like a crescendo up to the action. And Tarantino like loves that style with it. He does that all the time with his movies.
It's interesting. You're such a big Tarantino fan. Like, it's really nice to watch a Tarantino movie with you because you know just like where he's coming from and like where he gets all his inspiration from, because he is like just a walking movie recorder, essentially.
Yeah, he's an encyclopedia.
So the plot of Death Proof, I guess you kind of follow stuntman Mike, who's played by Kurt Russell, and he's a stunt driver that gets off on killing people with his car. And his car is it's Death Proof because essentially it's rigged for stunt people to survive like really heavy crashes. And it starts off, we're following a couple of girls in Texas. They're having like a fun night. They're young, you know, and they go to a bar. It's just like a really cool scene where Tarantino's like playing the bartender and they're just having fun and the music is so good. It's his actual record player, apparently, in the bar, which is really cool. And then stuntman Mike comes in and he's essentially stalking these people. And he picks out his victims, and it's always these like really hot young women. And he kills them with his car. And then it skips in time to Rosario Dawson and her crew. And he's trying to do it again. But then there's a twist.
He kind of does this psycho narrative structure where all these girls that you're following, all these characters that you're following, they just get killed off halfway through the movie. Basically, Kurt Russell has this thing where he goes like state to state, hunting down girls that he kills with his car, and like a weird sex thing. And he'll follow girls who are like having fun, they're drinking and smoking and stuff, and then like he'll crash into them when they're too fucked up so that they can like, and he's sober. Like he goes to bars and he's just sober the whole time just so that he can like be sober when he drives to kill them off with this death-proof car. Yeah. He's a stuntman. He's stuntman Mike.
Yeah.
And but I think it's cool how he does this. You know, you follow this group of girls hanging out, you know, having a good time in the night. Vanessa Ferlito.
Is that the main character in the first half?
Yeah, yeah, like the thick girl, like that Tarantino like dated.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a video of them making out online.
Cool. So you making it into a film?
No, but he definitely was fucking his actress. At least one of them.
Consenting, though.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Kurt Russell is the only one who survives the accident because he's in the death-proof car and he's able to get away with it because of he crashed into them while they were like all drunk and he was sober. And then he heals his wounds and we skip to like whatever, a year later, he's in another state stalking another whole group of girls.
Yeah.
And he waits for them to do something like stupid. That's like spoiler territory kind of like them to, you know. But basically there's a crazy car chase scene.
Oh, it's so good.
And the climax, that's like 20, I don't even know how long it's like.
It's probably like a third of the movie, honestly.
It might be like a third of the movie. Yeah, the car chase is insane.
Yeah, it's really well done, really exhilarating. It all leads up to this, and you're just, I don't know, it's so much fun because you're rooting for the good girls to win. Kurt Russell's fucking amazing in this. He's so good at this, like, playing this sociopath.
Oh, yeah, Kurt Russell, we got to talk about, yeah.
Rosario Dawson's, like, really good in this as well. I love the scene he does, the 360 scene at the diner.
Yeah.
The one shot, that's so good. Just, yeah, I'm really impressed with Tarantino in this movie. You know, a lot of people say it's one of his worst movies, but even Tarantino's worst movie is a good movie.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I would, like, this is not even his worst movie for me.
What would you say it is?
I think The Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
I might even put Death Proof above, like, Kill Bill 2, dude.
Yeah, I didn't like Kill Bill 2 that much either. But, I mean, I was surprised. I liked it. The practical stuff, like you were saying, really carries the movie for me. He doesn't want to do any CGI shit, you know?
No, it's all practical. It's all in camera, and it looks all real, and he's really crashing cars multiple times, and yeah, that's sick.
All around. I had a fun time watching that.
Yeah, it is really good.
I think the thing for me was that I didn't want it to be some weird fetish movie where this guy's killing all these women, but there's no purpose behind it. But after watching the movie, I feel like it is very satisfying. It's not like torture for the sake of torture. There's a point behind everything that like Tarantino puts in the movie and the story. The comeuppance.
Yeah.
It's satisfying.
Yeah, it's just like a little fun little narrative thing, and there's no like greater meaning or message behind it. Like a lot of Tarantino movies, like they're just like fun.
Yeah. But
in the release for this, so this movie like was released with Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror on a double feature.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't do so well. Like audiences didn't get it. Like they didn't like know. Like when they would go to watch the movie, they would watch Death Proof, and then when the credits start, they would like leave the theater, but they would have to be like told by the attendee or someone there, like, "Oh no, it's like there's another movie after this or whatever." And so it was like a weird release because it was supposed to be mimicking the grindhouses at the time, the the exploitation cinemas at the time, where it's like double, triple features. You know, you would go to see. But like when you go to like a Cineplex, there's no like double features. No, people don't know what that is anymore. So these movies like they like flopped. You know, like the budget of Death Proof was $30 million, but it made like $31 million.
Success.
Well, not really, because like that's the budget of like production.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like they lost money on it for sure.
$1 million.
That's so production budget like $30 million. They probably had to spend another 10 plus for marketing and stuff like that, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. Like you usually have to spend at least 20 mil nowadays for marketing.
Yeah, it's a big part of movies nowadays.
Yeah, so it definitely didn't make us money, but it was a critical. I think it was a critical success, and it had like a cult following, and it eventually like finds its audience. And it's like Tarantino, but
Tarantino is always going to have an audience.
That's like a little bit of his background, but that's like his only flop.
Yeah,
not a financial thing, but it was just kind of weird releasing it, and if they just released them separately with a budget of like 30 mil, like that's a lot for a movie. Like a middle, like no, like that was considered mid-budget, but nowadays I feel like that's a lot. Like you don't really see the 30 mil budget films anymore. You either see like big tentpole 100 mil plus, or you see like micro budget or indie,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I hadn't seen it in a while. And it was cool. I haven't seen it maybe since like high school, I swear. And it was nice to refresh my memory. It's cool seeing it now. It's actually still really good. It's not like something I grew out of that I saw
Yeah.
like when I was younger.
Do you feel like you have a new appreciation for it, seeing it now after like growing?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see like a little more technical aspects to it that I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And the dialogue is really good, and it's like a hangout movie.
Yeah. It is.
And then like a horror.
The dialogue, like his dialogue's always going to be on point. Just the scenes where the girls are in the car just talking to one another. It's so good. It's so well written, and you feel like these characters are real.
Well, they're not like girly girl, like like they're like kind of more harder edged.
They felt like real people. They felt like, they really had things going on with their life, and like they like had like real substance to them. They weren't caricatures. We watched Out of the Blue last night by Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, written directed by Dennis Hopper. Crazy maniac.
Crazy person.
But Dennis Hopper is a crazy person.
He is the characters he plays, dude. There's no getting around that. He's like, slightly unhinged, almost too out there to be functioning.
Yeah, and like he says in the beginning of the film, he's like, I don't have collaborators. I only collaborate with my actors.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's such like, he's like, it's amazing that anyone ever lets me direct a film because I fucking don't get along with anyone, is essentially what he's saying.
Yeah, and he plays the same maniac he would be in Easy Rider or Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Get some good Dennis Hopper freakouts.
Mm-hmm.
And this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for that, this is a movie. I mean, it's a good movie in general. It's a good film.
It is a good movie. It's very poetic, I feel like. There's some shots that are amazing, just like at the trash yard with all the birds flying around.
Yeah. He's like a trash person. Why don't you go ahead and lay out the plot?
No, you lay out the plot this time.
All right. So the story is about a 15-year-old girl living in Texas. Her dad is in prison because he was drunk driving and he crashed into a school bus full of little kids.
And that's the first scene of the movie. That's what you're introduced to.
Yeah, the first scene in the movie is Dennis Hopper is a truck driver and he's driving with his daughter and he's drinking. We see the school bus stuck in the middle of the road and then he just fucking crashes into this school bus full of kids. And that's the intro scene. But the actual story is about the daughter and her living this life in Texas with a single mom who's a heroin addict, and she's like kind of dating around town, whatever, she wants what's best for the kid, but the kid is obviously grown up and she's already fucked up. The kid's already fucked up. Like, she's super rude to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
She's just kind of punk wannabe huge Elvis fan.
She's very passionate about that though, which is kind of endearing. In a way, it's just how into rock and punk she is.
Yeah.
It's like her whole personality and like she's very against the establishment kind of gal.
Yeah, and she's not living in, this film doesn't take place in like an affluent neighborhood. It takes place in like a white trash.
Truck stop,
like nothing, no one going anywhere, dead end, like town that's like all broken down. It's probably economically dying as well. This girl, this is like, tries to escape from this fucked up environment and world by like with music or like just kind of going on her little escapades into the city. Even though this movie's shot in Toronto or Montreal or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It takes place in Texas. But basically that's the setup, and her father eventually comes home. She hasn't seen him in 5 years, and then we kind of see the impact of the father coming home. Let's just say it's not like the most positive experience. It's actually a negative. It makes them, they're worse off when he was came back than when he was in prison, and there's all these consequences to him coming home and entering back into this world.
That's the thing I love about the movie though, is you feel for this kid, CB, who's the daughter.
Yeah.
You see that her household's just so broken. Her mom is not stable. Nothing in the town is stable. All the adults in the town are like unhinged. alcoholics, and it's just not a good environment for any kid. There's that feeling you feel for her where you want her to have a stable family, you want her to have her parents together, and the promise of comfort in the household being more stable. And then the father comes home and you don't get that. It's the opposite of that. It causes more problems. And for her, a little kid who most of her life her father was in prison, that image she has of what would be is like completely shattered really quickly. But she doesn't want to admit that, and no one wants to admit how fucked up they are. I think as an audience, that is what really resonates with people in this movie is that emotional connection you have with the daughter, and how you want what's best for her, even though you don't know her, you know?
Yeah, and the dad is just like goes spiraling down like pretty much right away. Like first he's kind of nice, and then he just falls into his alcoholic habits, and he loses his job, and then when the part where loses his job after that, it's just like super duper downhill.
Oh, it's
It
downhill.
gets like pretty dark and violent and unforgiving, kind of devastating. It's not a happy ending. Sorry, spoiler, but
No. But it's a punk ending.
yeah, I guess that's the whole idea.
Well, okay, so the structure of the film is really sound up until the third act, and I feel like it really drops off, and a lot of the ending was rushed, and I know that's because of budgetary restrictions they had on set.
Yeah.
They had to wrap it up. They couldn't do the ending the justice it deserved.
You know that?
Yeah, that's what Jake said.
Okay.
I'm not blaming them for that, because that happens in any production. That's the difficulty of shooting anything. I felt like, for me personally, the ending drops off too suddenly to becoming like not the caliber that rest of the film had been.
Yeah, the first half to 2/3 of the movie is really, really good. And that's like almost kind of like that hangout movie living in the world of this like thing. And then it kind of does this weird like thriller ending type shit, like where it's like in a horror, not in a horror movie, but it just kind of was just violent. You know,
it was almost surrealist.
Yeah,
for sure.
That definitely was the ending. Definitely the last scene is very surrealist.
But that was my one gripe with the movie. Was I felt like the ending, I don't know, just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I think it's flawed in that aspect. I wouldn't call it really anything close to a masterpiece.
No, Jack Nicholson called it a masterpiece.
Yeah, like I can see it having this little cult thing, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely like really cool, the world they set up, and the girl is great in it. Dennis Hopper, the mom, not necessarily a happy movie, but it has some vibes to it, for sure. But I think it's out of the way because like I can kind of see how it's out of the way. Like,
yeah. But overall, I don't regret seeing it.
No, I didn't regret seeing it either. Because I heard it was good, and I'm glad I saw it. Dennis Hopper is worth checking out anytime.
Yeah. You always know he's going to be up to something.
I would have to give it probably 3.5 on the boxed.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, not 5 stars. Like, you can see the budgetary stuff because some of the shots, like, it's very guerrilla when they go into the city, and then they're shooting the punk band, which might have just been a punk band playing. I have no idea. Like
that's what I think.
Because you can see like the videography of it, of like the shadow, and like they're shooting it like it's like a concert, like how a videographer would shoot it. But it looks good. It looks good. The film looks great.
Yeah, it does.
You can see the shadow multiple times of the film, the camera.
There's the part where he's just filming the street performer, and then the street performer breaks the fourth wall, and that's like they're just having fun.
It's a very new wave of him.
Yeah.
Except that was like 15 years too late. But yeah, he's trying to do something artistic, and I respect it. And I respect him going out and making the movie. Because it's not an easy movie to make.
No, definitely not.
Just with the budget and the story he's trying to tell. Yeah. It's all in the performances.
Yeah.
Just all these drunks and stuff.
Yeah, definitely not a place for a kid.
Yeah, definitely not a place for a kid. She was born into it. It's not her fault.
She was born what?
It's like not even her fault, like the way she is, because she can't do anything about it. She's just trapped in her reality of being a 15-year-old kid and this like old enough to like not old enough to go out on her own, but like old enough to understand that stuff is shitty. She hates men, even though she looks like a guy.
Yeah, it was a really interesting commentary at the end there. That was one aspect of the ending that I did like was that reveal at the end, and I thought it was cool. I think that the child actress is really good for it. Yeah, I'm really impressed. We recommend it.
I think it's a solid picture. I wouldn't recommend it to my mother, and I don't think I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it might be a while before I ever see it again.
Yeah, like don't regret watching it. Not a masterpiece though.
Mm-hmm.